It was launched 3 years ago, underwent scrutiny from all corners. Questions were raised. Critics moved to court to stop it. But it is still going strong. Millions have been disbursed, yet Kenyans decry the accessibility of funds. Have businesses grown? What is the data? And how is the repayment? The Hustler Fund is the brainchild of the Kenya Kwanza government to elevate the people at the bottom of the pyramid. And Susan Mangeni sits in the office that oversees its full implementation. I want to close with this Hustler Fund.
Good.
3 years into it. Where are we? Are people repaying? There's been critics around it.
Before you ask about whether people are repaying, I want you to ask, what is the success? What is the, and the success is not about repayment only. First of all, this is the first government, and I dare say, the first government in the world to have come up with a credit card for its population. We created a credit line for all our population. The personal loan product of the Hustler Fund, in essence, is a credit card. We've given every Kenyan who is 18 years and above an opportunity to access credit, affordable credit, as and when they need it, so that we move them from disparate, the desperate level in times of need, where they have to agonize to access even their basic needs because they don't have anybody who give them. We have been able to pull majority of Kenyans from predators in the digital lending market. Since Kenyans were being enticed, because when you are at that desperate need point and you need money to achieve whatever you want to achieve, you will not even reason out whether the kind of facilities that is being advanced to you is highly expensive, because you just caring about sorting out your problem. But then people take advantage of that. They take advantage of majority of Kenyans. Are mainstream banks look at them as being high risk to the sense that, one, they're not visible. Remember I talked about visibility. So it's not just in the formalization of MSME, but it's also an issue when it comes to credit market access. Because if you're not visible, there is no credit footprints of you. It becomes very difficult for the commercial banks, or rather for the mainstream financing institution, to assess you fairly, to assess your credit worthiness fairly. And when they're assessing credit worthiness, they want to look at your ability to borrow and your willingness to repay. But the only way you can demonstrate that is if you've had experience. It's akin to when you look for jobs. For people to trust that you can do that piece of work, they want to have some sort of, what is your experience? Have you ever done this kind of job? The same thing in the credit market. For fair assessment, what is your experience? And if you have no experience, then you are rated as a high risk. And for you to acquire credit, then it requires you to securitize. You'll need a security, you'll need a collateral. And most of the time, people at the bottom of the economic pyramid, especially men and women, because of our tradition and culture, and not men and women, but women and youth, they don't own means of production. They not land owners, house owners, property owners. So they will not really afford those kind of collaterals that are needed in the market. So we were in a space where majority of Kenyans were not bankable, were not being served. And if they were to be served, they go through pain. Either they get exposed to very indecent and undignified way of being lent to, and high costly credit. For instance, take an example of you're a mama mboga, or you're doing mitumba business. You go here to Kikomba market. You'll always find people who work in the money space, money business. Their work is just to come and lend you credit at a very high cost. And if you are to borrow 1,000 bob, we used to have characters they will lend at you at about, you return in the evening, but you return with 100 shilling on top. So you borrowed that.
So that becomes expensive when it comes to the interest.
Very expensive, because if you're doing that every day, and the MSME sector, they borrow like almost, the amount of trade is, the scale of trade is very small. Like you buy only mbogas, you need to sell that particular day.
Okay.
So you come every day, you borrow 1,000 bob or 500 shilling, you pay with 10%. So if you have to do that throughout the year, you know how much interest rates you are subjected to? At 3,600%. Now you ask yourself, which businesses can you inject in 1,000 bob in a day and have a margin that can cover the cost of 100 shillings after you have removed everything, including your transport there, operationalization, and maybe what you need to eat from there, your livelihood there. That's why most of our businesses, because of that high cost of credit, they were living in a space of, it was more like in a lottery kind of, but even beyond the lottery, they were like, you just working slavery, some sort of credit slavery, working for certain people who are getting more from you, doing business, but it's not benefiting you.
Okay.
That's why there is no growth. Again, you asked me, what are some of the challenges to growth? It's been because you think you are in business, but you're doing it, you're a slave for someone else. You can't achieve anything that can progress your life.
Right.
So then Hustler Fund came in to disrupt that sort of environment. One, by looking at how do we create or improve the capacity of our people, the majority youth and women, and those people at the bottom of the economic pyramid, to become lending ready or investment ready. And then also, how do you work on the demand side? How do we make these banks and the financial institutions, circles and all of them, to start also trusting these people and also lending to them at affordable credit? So it's an experience which is a more like a very special PPP. It's a public-private partnership. That's one part that people don't understand, because we told this private sector, especially the financial institution, that we cannot keep on not serving these people, because then it affects your customer base. And then also, we came in at the time when most of our MSMEs, most of Kenyans were in CRB, by the way. We had close to between 7 to 8 million Kenyans had been negatively listed in CRB. Not because they wanted to, but because of the circumstances around that time. Remember, we were just coming from corona pandemic. We had the worst drought for over 40 years hitting us also around that time. There were also many other shocks, like I talked about. Some are geopolitical shocks that came with the fight in Ukraine and Russia, disrupted supply chain. We had the high inflation, the highest inflation ever. The cost of fuel, you could see it happening all over. It was unreachable to majority of small or Kenyan small business players. So there was a lot of chaos, economic chaos in the space, to an extent that even if you had an obligation, it's very unlikely that you will honor it. So most people have found themselves listed negatively by credit reference bureaus. But you see, one thing, once you get listed, you remain in that default state for a period of close to 7 years. Every time, even if you pay, you're seeing, this is Brian, this Brian. You always have question marks. So you're perceived
so right now,
differently.
have people been, what people?
Yeah. So what we did then, we came together, and because this was a request from the people, remember, in the run-up to the election, the Kenya Kwanza then had a number of forums across the country, in each and every county, grassroots economic forums. Most of the players there, the one request that they made to His Excellency, then DP, they told him, when you come to the office, the first thing you should do for us, kindly try to address the issue of cost of credit, because it is very expensive. We wish to partake in the economic growth, but if the cost of credit is this high, it's very difficult for us to sustain our businesses. So when he came in, the first thing he did, actually, I think it was the second thing, give it to him after swearing in, because the first one was to address the very day of swearing in. You remember the issue of the judges when he resolved. The second other major action he undertook was to bring together the various players in the credit space. These were the banks and the telcos, brought them together in a meeting, and he told them, we cannot continue like this. We got to disrupt what is happening, and we have to agree to work together. Those Kenyans negatively listed cannot continue being there. And because the credit market did not also provide the credit repair mechanism, so it was one way. Once you're there, returning back becomes such a huge challenge to climb, and a mountain to climb. So this experience of Hustler Fund provided both credit repair mechanism for those who are in CRB, because then His Excellency the President appealed to the banks and told them, look, why can't you whitelist them? We give them an opportunity now on a platform where this platform will be created by you. We leverage on your banking technology, telco technology, and then leverage on the digital growth that mobile technology that we had achieved as a country, and give Kenyans a second chance so that they can improve their credit rating and get themselves now eventually from the credit rating from that default status, but then also give new Kenyans. When I mean by new Kenyans, I mean the Kenyans who are becoming of age, who are turning 18 years, the young people, the primary experience for them to start now building their credit history that will give them footprints to be assessed fairly. Because having a blanket condemnation and say, oh, these Kenyans, because they're young, cannot borrow and pay, so this one we have to look at them carefully, handle them a bit more cautious because we'll be wasting our money, was unfair to majority of Kenyans, as we've come to see now on the Hustler Fund platform. Today, we have 3 products on the Hustler Fund. The first product, which we refer to as a credit card, the personal loan, we have disbursed as of today more than 82 billion Kenyan shillings to close to 28 million Kenyans as of today.
82 billion.
And this was the personal loan which we began with 500 shillings, and you could grow your limit based on how you repay your behavior on it, the credit behavior.
Are you able to tell the highest person right now what when they borrow?
Yeah, the people who hit now, when the people start hitting the 50,000 marks, because they have grown. We have people who started with 500 shillings, grew their limit up to the regions of 50,000. And we also provided for mandatory saving of 5%. So when any borrowing, we net off the 5%, 30% goes for short-term saving, which you can access from time to time. 70% builds up your long-term, which is akin to pension, because we want also Kenyans to start risking their future, to start building their future. You don't just need to be in formal employment to start saving for the future. Whatever you do in this micro space, you can also start saving. That's why we're also promoting a culture of saving through the Hustler Fund experience. So when people started now to growing our highest limit, which was 50,000, and demonstrating good borrowing behavior, we introduced a bridge loan. Now the bridge loan is to now filter those who are doing well, give them now an experience of a term loan. Term loan in the sense that the personal loan is for 14 days. Of course, you can roll over once to about 30 days. But now term loan, you start having a 1 month loan, which you can roll over to another month. And then same terms and condition, which is 80%. So we have Kenyans who have graduated from 50,000, and today they can borrow up to 150,000.
Okay.
Let me ask you, which friend at any given time you need money, you can go to him and without saying so many words, because it's just you say, can you give me 150,000 because this is my limit, and they give you.
I'll try my friend.
Even if it's the bank, it will be a challenge. You try your friends even
I'll try with
my So we
Kenyans.
have Kenyans. So on the bridge loan,
Yeah.
we have served more than 800,000 Kenyans, and we keep on graduating them. Once you demonstrate you can pay well, you get graduated, because now your limits, or rather your ticket size is now beyond 50,000. So we graduate you, and you have demonstrated as a good borrower. You pay within time. You at least you show efforts in terms of paying. We graduate you there. Sometime last year, we launched the Hustler Fund behavioral rating system. It's been an experience which has helped us to rehabilitate the people who are in CRB. Most of them, by the I will put it almost 4.5 million, have are now having a second chance and have demonstrated good
4.5 million is a big
borrowing
number.
behavior.
It's a big number.
Is a big number, and then also because these are the people who are in CRBs, but these were not people that were there because they needed to be there. It was circumstances that pushed them there. So we give you another chance to start demonstrating and borrow and repay. As you do that, remember, you're being visible to the commercial banks. They are seeing you, so they start building trust again in you, and so it becomes very easy for them now to migrate you to their own balance sheet. And that's now the objective of the Hustler Fund.
So to some extent,
We
it
pull you.
somehow helped, just to clear people that had a negative rating.
Yeah. So our behavioral rating system is a 9-band. So it ranges from A1 to C3. And today, if you are a Hustler Fund beneficiary, anytime you dial *254#, you select Hustler Fund, you will see how you are rated from those rating. So now, if you are A1, you are the top. You're top rated. So you have A1, A2, A3, C1, C2, C3, B1, B2. B1, B2, B3, C1, C2, C3. If you are rating in the range of A to B, you're a good customer. So given your rate and an identity, the good thing with our identity, unlike the national, so in addition to the national identity card, we want to give you a Hustler Fund score. The good thing with ours, you can always upscale it, but it can also get to be downgraded. But it will give you access to the formal financial institution, because it makes them know who you are.
Okay.
Because if you have braved off the government so-called moral hazard, there's usually this moral hazard that is attached to government initiative. People say, I need you, okay, isn't it? But if you yourself, with zero, actually, because there's no minimum, there's not even minimal supervision we give you. Zero supervision. You yourself, you went to your phone, you called yourself to a meeting. I like saying, you are the chairman, the secretary, treasurer. You call yourself to your phone, you dial. You do not need the airtime to dial because it's zero-rated. And then it serves all the telcos that we have, Airtel, Safaricom, Telcom. You can access from where you are, because unique identifier is your ID. You've called yourself to a meeting, you've seen your limit is 10,000, you choose to borrow maybe 2,000 depending on your need, or 150,000. You have school fees to sort, or you want to increase your stock, you want to do this and that transaction. You borrow, you yourself, you regulate your own credit behavior. It's something good that should be collateralized, so that then you can access credit even in the commercial market without necessarily being requested to those to attach those conventional collateral. So what Hustler Fund has done, has created that experience, has provided a platform where you can now build your credit history, enhance your credit profile, and now be served, be banked by commercial banks against your credit rating, because this is an identity that it's like a learning experience. We go to school. I know you asked me about default, and that's why I'm coming to respond to you. It's a learning experience. Before you're subjected to school, our school curriculum, nobody will tell whether you're a bright child or not. Nobody will tell whether you can, which pathway in life, whether you want to do sports, whether you want to do STEM, whether you want to do social sciences. You have to be subjected to certain conditions for us to know from here, where are you blessed most. It is the same thing. We have Hustler Fund experience with almost 10 million Kenyans borrowing regularly has shown us that outside there, and unlike before, when the banks thought everybody who is a young person and women were people you need to take some precaution upon when you are lending to them. Today, we have been able to demonstrate that not everybody is wrong. Not everyone is a defaulter.
So there's been positive outcome out of
It's
this
a positive outcome,
especially
because if we have been able to create credit profiles, which can now be progressed and be supported or be banked in the commercial world, it seems those are positive. That's an impact in itself. Now, these ones who are not defaulting, like those ones who are in school and not everybody scores A, those ones who scores A. You know, now there's what you're saying, we have 100% transition, because they're all ours. They may not be blessed in terms of passing exam, but they could be having some sort of talents here and there. So we cannot deny them, we create opportunities. So equally, for us on the Hustler Fund, in the this credit nursery, you can call it credit kindergarten, we are having, or credit school in our population. We advance those ones who demonstrated well to be supported, grow their businesses if they are business oriented, so that they can create job opportunities for these other ones who are faltering along the way. But we also keep on also letting these ones who have not defaulted to know that it is them looking outside, they're looking out of themselves, out of the opportunities that comes with the having good credit rating. And also, lastly, Hustler Fund experience has shown that as a country, we need now to relook at our credit culture. We need a good culture on credit, because sometimes, and I know that has been a challenge to us. Najua, they say, Kenyan, you can, if you lend me something, unless you come to remind me. I need to be reminded that you see, I borrowed something. But you see, the world is becoming a global village, and technology is becoming the in thing now. And today we are able to become visible to any part of the country. In some economy, credit rating is so key that even if you have got lots of cash, you cannot purchase a property if your credit rating is extremely low. And we'll go to those countries. If we don't inculcate a good credit behavior, it's going to be a challenge. So Hustler Fund is also bringing out now such kind of the cultural needs that we need to address. So we need to borrow for a reason, borrow for a purpose, not just borrow for the sake of borrowing. And even if we borrow, then also need to have a plan on how are we going to repay, or borrow responsibly and invest well, so that then we can meet that particular obligation. So I would say Hustler Fund is really doing well. Yes, we have those default cases, but we know if you look at the achievement are far much greater, the success
than the challenges.
That the challenges, but we believe those success are going to become more, will multiply around in terms of value to our economy. Those people can access huge amounts of money in the commercial banks in the future, because this is where now we actually want to nationalize this credit rating. We have a national score, so that then we unlock many Kenyans to access credit in the competitive credit market, so that then they can grow, boost their businesses and support the economic growth.
That is Principal Secretary Susan Mangeni, thank you so much for your time.
Welcome.
And allowing us to have this conversation here.
Good.
I know I said 20 to 30 minutes, but it's been...
Oh, how many hours?
over an hour.
A lot?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Good. And welcome.
Thank you so much once again.
And I hope you have paid the Hustler Fund.
I
Because I know Nyota you can't benefit.
Okay,
You
that's
are
a conversation we're going to
overqualified,
have off the camera.
But can you pay Hustler Fund?
All right, thank you so much
thank you
for being
and
part
welcome.
of this conversation. Of course, Susan Mangeni, Principal Secretary in the State Department, I beg your pardon, of MSMEs Development.